I request our BL Chandakji to give you little information about our group, and then I will give an introduction for you. Please.
Yeah, sure.
Anand.
Kela ji, namaskar.
नमस्कार चांडक जी, कैसे हैं?
बस अच्छे हैं, all well. So this group we formed about 20 months back, and we invite people like you and others on Saturdays mostly and sometime on Sundays. So over last 20 months, we have invited more than 125 people. Most of them are from Calcutta or have some Calcutta connection, even if they are joining from other places. So this is, I thought, could be useful to you to know about Kolkata Investors Group. And Anand, you can introduce Madhuji. He doesn't need any introduction to my mind, but still for the sake of formality, you can go ahead on this. And then maybe Madhuji, you can give your views on market and other things related to economy and stocks, etc., where people are interested, and then we can have question answers.
Thank you, Chandakji. Yes, today I am going to introduce someone who needs no introduction. My honor to welcome Mr. Madhu. His rich experience spanning over several market cycles in the market is just exceptional. As a fund manager under the leadership of Madhuji, that the AMC achieved #1 position not only AUM but various other metrics. He has been consistently performing with his ability to retain simplicity in his process of analyzing the markets. More importantly, he is greatly an inspiration for young investors, as he has proven that markets are not just about fundamentals and the right stocks, also about the right temperament and strong conviction. Madhuji, our entire group is overwhelmed to have you amongst us today. Over to Madhuji, please.
श्रीमान मधु केला साहब।
अरे सर, कैसे आप
कैसे हैं? रायपुर घूम रहे हैं?
यस, मैं मेरे गांव में हूँ सर।
वो मुझे मालूम है कि आप रायपुर से हैं।
हाँ जी।
पर आनंद मेहता ने एक बात बोलना भूल गया, वो मैं पूरी कर देता हूँ कि as a very successful investor, the greatest attribute Mr. Madhu Kela has maintained is his humility. He's really one of the most humble persons I know. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I fully endorse, sir. Absolutely, Madhuji.
Thank you so much. And it's an absolute honor and pleasure for me to be here amongst all of you. And I really, really thank each one of you from bottom of my heart for giving me this privilege today to be amongst you. So trust me, I have not prepared a single bit for this. And I just thought ki dil se baat karenge. So I don't intend giving a long bhashan about things, but I want to make sure that it is very interactive because I can see many faces here from whom I have learned a lot in last 30 years of my career. And ये basically चिराग को दिया दिखाने वाली बात होगी कि अगर मैं यहाँ पे कोई लंबा चौड़ा भाषण दूँ तो, but I will just briefly just share my opening thoughts and maybe just we can leave it to question and answer then. I think we are absolutely privileged first for two things. One, to be part of this business. It's very early on in 91, 92 when I just came to Bombay and passed my MBA. It was not by accident, but even at that time I had this conviction that this is the only business which is a true business of businesses. Like, you don't have to be married to one business, but you can, today you are a steel investor, tomorrow you can be a cement investor, third day you can be a technology investor, but the whole options are open, right? This is intellectually very, very satisfying because where will I get an opportunity to interact with 60 people on Sunday at 11 p.m. if I was not part of this business? Secondly, I would say that you don't need to be son of Tata, Birla, or Ambani to be successful here. I started with my career, trust me, with negative 25,000 rupees, because whatever money my brother gave me, I burnt it in the first 2 months in the stock market. Then I had zero capital. And God has been very kind. I can't complain how life has shaped up in the last 25, 30 years. So this is an extremely exciting field to be in. What I have observed in 30 years through various cycles, I can't think of any other place. कभी कोई रुपये का माल अपने को 4 आने में मिल जाता है या 10 पैसे में मिल जाता है, और वही रुपये का माल 3, 4, 5 साल के अंदर 1 रुपया, 2 रुपया, 3 रुपया या 4 रुपये में बिक जाता है. I can't think of any other business like this. So I'm extremely excited to be part of this business. Second, I would say is that the period in which we are there right now in India, while the blips will keep coming and markets will keep going up and down, but I think we are in one of the best periods as far as India is concerned. People may have their own views on Modi, but I have a very, very strong view that he's the best leader we could have got. He's someone who's really, really, in a way, shaping India and doing things which were neglected for many, many years. And I'm not here to give any political speech, but I feel all the changes which happen in India, whether you range it from social changes like Swachh Bharat or to economic changes like many laws, whether it is GST, whether it is bankruptcy, whether it is bank account for 30 crore people. These were all fundamental changes which were needed, and they've all been implemented slowly and gradually. Obviously, we have not seen the full advantage of this, because while you are making the changes, it is very, very painful. I've been tracking market for 30 years. Just to give you a glimpse that, all the earlier government were very, very shy of, including the BJP government, which came in 2001, were very shy to recognize this massive NPL problem of the banks. Now, in the last 6 years, the banks have provided 11 lakh crores. 11 lakh crores is being provided by public sector banks, while their operating profit is 10 lakh crores. So the government gave 3.5 lakh crore rupees of cushion to make sure that everything gets cleaned up once. And today, you talk to any public sector bank, they're struggling कि ये quarter में और क्या provide करने का है, कहाँ से provision लेके आवे, क्योंकि इतना profit तो दिखाने का जरूरत नहीं है. Like, so the situation has changed, that what I can't provide to a situation wherein what all I can provide and keep my books clean. So this is just an example. I feel that we are in a very, very sweet spot, and globally, $35 trillion of money is being printed. भाई साहब, आप सब बिजनेसमैन लोग हो, सबको पता है कि पानी तो वहीं डलेगा, जिधर पानी तो उधर ही जाएगा जिधर ढलान होगा. And this money will get most attractive place, one of the most attractive place in India, which we are already seeing. It may not be seen in the stock market, but if you look at the overall flow of capital into India, if you include FDI, the amount of money which is coming from private equity, etc., it is humongous, and I think with time it will only rise. So I think next decade actually belongs to India, and we all are very lucky and fortunate that we are part of this great country at this point of time. The other two, three things which I will just mention out of my experience, that I have missed a lot of opportunities in my language by trying to be Dedshana. So basically, यहाँ पे Dedshana होने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you are just Shana, you can actually make a lot of money. And by what I mean is, trying to perfect, हम एकदम lowest भाव में बेच देंगे, फिर हमको दूसरा चीज ले लेंगे, फिर तीसरी चीज हम lowest भाव में खरीद लेंगे, फिर चौथी चीज बेच देंगे. In 30 years of my experience, I have observed that it doesn't really work. So you just have to have your own set of principles, which I have always believed that it is better to be wrong with your own conviction rather than being right with borrowed conviction. So you have to have your own set of framework of rule which you can prepare. Do not try to copy anyone, because at the end of the day, what may suit me and my emotional temperament may not suit anyone else. Like I'm just saying, if I copied Warren Buffett in India blindly last 30 years, I don't think I would have taken the kind of bets which I took, and I don't think that I would have made the kind of money which I made, whether it was for mutual fund or now for me personally. So you have to have your own set of rules, you have to have your own framework in which you are operating, but then you have to have conviction in what you are doing. So that's the third point which I see, that a lot of us disproportionately invest a lot of time in just trying to read companies' balance sheet and financial accounts. While I'm not underestimating the importance of understanding the company, but I think the real money is being made when there is a real external opportunity where that gets opened up or it gets provided. Otherwise, you can keep struggling like what I have done, many mistakes in my life. Like, let's say 2008 to 2013, when inflation where interest rates were rising, I was still very bullish on one real estate company. While the writing was very clear on the wall that in this kind of environment, a real estate company is very unlikely to do well. So we have to be able to catch a broad trend, and you have to be able to understand broad markets, and then obviously do a company analysis and specific to that company, whether it is and I personally look at only 3-4 things. I look at external opportunity in which the company is operating. Now I give a lot of importance to the management which is driving the company. Then obviously we look at ROE and cash flow. These are two very, very important parameters which I look into any company. And lastly, we look at what is the business cycle and what is the valuation at which we are getting into. So I feel like we were able to catch the electric vehicle theme very early, maybe 3-4 years early, when I saw the battery prices coming off, and it really getting affordable. Because it's a small group, and I will tell you. So when we invested in this company called Olectra, no one would have touched, someone who really, really only looks at the balance sheet, no one would have touched this company. But the balance sheet was okay, but we saw the kind of opportunity which is there in electric vehicle business, and the number of cars which are running on fossil fuel and the number of vehicles which are running on fossil fuel, they will eventually need to get replaced. I was very, very excited. I personally went to China, met with BYD, and we took a significant bet, and it has worked out. People who are only reading financial statement, they may still struggle that what is there in this company to give it a 5,000-6,000 crore market cap. But trust me, fundamentals also keep developing of a company if you are able to read the external opportunity really, really right. So I would just, as I promised that I will not keep it very long, I just conclude by saying, for me, the only rule is that there are no rules. I don't follow any rigid rules. I don't say that I'm a growth investor, I'm a value investor, and I'm this investor, or I follow this or I follow that. The only rule is that, we have to be very agile and opportunistic in the market. There is nothing like no for any situation. So I know what is a transitory making money opportunity and what is which you want to keep in your portfolio. So you have to understand the difference between a girlfriend and a wife out here. But I am just saying that, I am willing to take a bet on whether it is a cyclical stock. There are many of my peers and people who I respect, they have formed this rule that we will not buy commodity companies. But you look at what the kind of return which you have generated in commodity companies in the last 15-18 months. So, I know that I don't want to buy a commodity company typically for next 10 years. But I am not averse to buying a commodity company if I can get it at 0.2 times book value and with very limited debt. If I can get some company like that, I have no problem in buying a company like this. So I think this is how things have worked out for us. I continue to believe that if there was 100 to be learned in the market, I am yet not crossed 2. So there is still 98% more to be learned. So we come here every day as a student and we try to learn and we try to share with people what we have learned. So either we get corrected or it gets reaffirmed that, what your thought process is right. So I must congratulate all of you to have formed this group, which is very, very good. This is how my Guru Rakesh Junjunwala has only taught me one thing, that, by sharing, you only grow. You will not become small, because this is like a samundar. जिसके पास जितनी ताकत है ना, जिसके पास बाल्टी वो बाल्टी भर के लेके आ जाए, और जिसके पास ट्रक है, टैंकर है, वो टैंकर भर के ले जाए, जिसके पास टिल्लू पंप है वो टिल्लू पंप लगा दे. ये समुद्र का पानी कभी खत्म नहीं होगा. So यहाँ पे opportunities are plenty. By making sure that we are able to share with each other and grow by learning from each other, it only enhances the conviction. And that is what brought me here today. So I'll stop here. I think all of you are so learned, but I'm embarrassed that what Gyan can I give more. So this is something which I experienced in the last 30 years. I just felt like sharing that. I'm more than open to have any questions, and I try my best to answer it to best of my ability.
एक्सेलेंट मधु जी, आपने जो 2-3 चीज खास तौर से बताई है कि पानी तो ढलान की तरफ जाएगा. दूसरा आपने समझाया है कि 1.5 श्याना होने की जरूरत नहीं, श्याना ही काफी है. और तीसरा आप बोल रहे हो कि आप अभी तक स्टूडेंट हैं. तो आप स्टूडेंट हैं, ये पक्की बात है. तो हम सब लोग अभी नर्सरी क्लास में हैं.
नहीं सर, हम सभी, मैं आपको बोलूंगा सर, हम सभी स्टूडेंट हैं. कोई और सभी हम नर्सरी क्लास में हैं. मार्केट इतना इंटरेस्टिंग जगह है ना सर. जिस दिन लॉकडाउन हुआ, मेरे को मेरे 4 मीडिया वाले फ्रेंड फोन किए कि सर आप तो नीचे का सर्किट लग जाएगा 20%. मेरे को उसी दिन पता था कि 20% तो पक्का नहीं लगेगा, या हो सकता है बाजार का आज बॉटम बन जाए. Just by sheer experience that इतना, if it was so simple to predict markets कि लॉकडाउन लग गया और 20% नीचे लग जाएगा, तो फिर then market will not be interesting, right? And that is why I say that all of us are students. Anyone who thinks here ना सर, जब मैं म्यूचुअल फंड में मार्केटिंग करने जाता था सर, तो मेरा टैगलाइन होता था, चलाने वाले चल बसे. मतलब जो भी ये सोच सकता है ना कि मैं मार्केट को चला सकता हूँ या कोई कंपनी को चला सकता हूँ या भाव को चला सकता हूँ, वो हिस्ट्री हो जाता है यहाँ पे. एंड वी हैव सीन मेनी पीपल, even large institutions who thought that they can govern markets, we have seen what happens to them. Large individuals who thought once upon a time they were darling of the stock market, we have seen what happens to them. So I think I just come pray every day. God give me the humility to every day just reaffirm this, that I know only 2% and 98% more to be learned, and I continue to be a student of this great university.
Requesting Chandak ji to please now question answer session. Do it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Madhu ji. आपने अपना experience share किया, सबके लिए बहुत useful है. What are your views on aviation sector and API manufacturers? You have invested quite a lot in both the sectors.
So this is why I didn't actually make my speech long, because it would have been repetitive. So we'll take it by the question answer.
Sure.
So the API business, I am very positive, Chandak ji, because I think this entire China plus one strategy, in my opinion, is here to stay. I talk to a lot of people internationally, by the grace of God, extremely well connected and network. The sense which I am getting now in the world, कि China ने बीमारी दी और India ने vaccine दिया. So if that is the sense and the sentiment, which people have, then I think, it's only a matter of time before this China plus one strategy will gain momentum. And API and a lot of other manufacturing sector will be key beneficiary. So just to give you a glimpse, and don't go by exact number, China का API export होगा 50 billion, India का है 5 billion. और पूरी दुनिया में अगर 8-10% ग्रोथ है, और वो पूरा ग्रोथ ही अगर इंडिया में शिफ्ट हो जाए, या significant part of that growth also shifts to India, then you know that we can grow 100% as an industry as a whole. What has added is also this PLI scheme, which is announced by the government. So, what is happening in China is labor cost is rising, the power cost is rising, the environmental rules are getting more strengthened. The cost of money, which was absolutely free for state governments and a lot of enterprises, they are now actually starting to realize the cost of money. And this entire concept of ESG, which also includes environment, is playing a parallel field across India and China. Now, just to give you, as you know, I don't want to get into a specific name, but the largest API manufacturer I have a privilege to know him well. So he tells me that last 25 years, we are only making quotation for global players. And finally, when it comes to pricing, they say that China is able to offer it, instead of you offering at $15, China is able to offer it at $8. This is the first time they're saying that they are willing to buy material from us at $15 as a second source. We may not still be the dominant source, but as a second source, they've started buying material. So the Chandakji is exactly what I was saying. Sir, stock market is all indication. There are no conclusions here. So when I want to learn about API, I look at a lot of other manufacturing sectors in India. Is that the similar trend which is there in a lot of other businesses and other industries? And a lot of you are very closely associated with manufacturing sector. At least a lot of my friends, even in textile industry, tell me that the going has not been as good as it is today for many, many years. The orders are flowing. There is a real demand for this China plus strategy, and API sector actually falls into this. The interesting thing about pharma and API is that, it is very volatile, because people, if you have 2-3 quarters of bad results, a lot of the investors actually misread it, कि company खलास हो गया, product खत्म हो गया, या भी P&L के basis पे stock value होना चालू हो जाता है. While the inherent strength which the company has built over last 20-30 years doesn't go away in 1 or 2 quarters. So again, I've been a very convinced pharma investor, because this is what my conviction is, that this is one business which is where by and large the governance is very good here. You don't have too many shortcuts players out here. Second, it is very difficult. It's very difficult to get entry into this sector. Minimum 5 to 7 year gestation period, regardless of how much money you have. And the third, because of this misunderstanding of the market, you keep getting these gems because of 1, 2, 3 quarters of bad results. So I'm quite optimistic about the sector as a whole. Aviation sector, I don't have a very, very strong view, except the general view that specific players will do well. I think the competition is hotting up in this sector. Right now, the market cap, 90% of the aviation market cap is concentrated in one individual company. I think in times to come, while the sector will grow, I feel that the market cap will get distributed, and we have strong players like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala now coming in as an entrepreneur in this sector. So it should be very interesting to see how it shapes up in the next 2 years.
Thank you, Madhuji. Kishore Bhai, you can come.
Thank you very much, Madhuji, for sharing your experience. It was very excellent to hear you. I have 2 questions. One is your views on the impact in this year because of likely increase in interest rates and reduction in liquidity by Federal Reserve. in US? And secondly, themes and sectors which you are bullish on at current valuations based on current working.
So, sir, again, which is exactly what I would say with humility, I would say, again, 30 years of my experience, I've tried many a times to read these macro things and, make my judgment on individual companies. Unfortunately, it has never worked. And I see no reason why it will be different this time. So while we have to keep track of all of this, what is happening, and it is very important. I'm not demeaning the importance of inflation, interest rate, liquidity around the world. But all I would say that if you get an extremely compelling idea, agar aapko rupiye ka maal 10 paise mein mil raha hai, don't bother about Fed. Let Fed do its job. You just have to be in the right sector. Don't be in sectors which will get hugely impacted by it. But if you get an extremely compelling bottom-up idea, then I would ignore what liquidity will matter or what Fed will do or not do. Because आप देखिए ऐसा कब टाइम आया अपने करियर में, market cap of entire market in 2020 March was 1.3 trillion. Today it is more than $3 trillion. $1.7 trillion of individual of incremental wealth has got created in last 18-24 months. भाई साहब इधर जो आ गए ना, अब ये यहाँ से जाना बहुत टफ है. और स्पेसिफिकली अगर आपने इसका कमाल देख लिया और पैसा कमा लिया ना, तो यहाँ से भी जाना टफ है. So I think there is still a lot of money now out here, and this money will continue to chase individual bottom-up opportunities, and our focus should be that while keep on monitoring. We will know. We have to be a follower rather than trying to predict things. Because how do you know where the interest rate internationally will be? How do you know how much will the Fed cut? You can read as much as you want. You can listen as much as you want. But I think Fed is as confused as you and me. You saw the last statement. What I couldn't make out anything of it. Because market had fallen 15%. They goal घुमा के बता दिया कि अभी नहीं करेंगे, मार्च में करेंगे. अगर बाजार वैसे रहता तो अभी इंटरेस्ट रेट कट अभी आ जाता. Interest rate increase अभी आ जाता. So I feel that let us not give any undue. We should be giving importance to this, but let us not give any undue importance to this. And the sector which I am bullish on, as I said, I am bullish on India, but most importantly, I am bullish on this manufacturing sector and the China plus one strategy. And there are a large number of sectors which come into this, and we can go deeper into. You all can go deeper into this. Whether you like a specialty chemical, pharmaceutical, textile, there is plethora of businesses to choose with. I was very excited to learn about this CSFB conference which happened on manufacturing, and will be happy to share my note with this group. They are talking of a multi-fold increase in electronic exports in the next 5 years. I don't know which company and what will benefit, because these companies like Dixon and all are richly valued, even though they are doing well. But I am sure there will be some company or the other which will be able to identify on the way to capitalize on this. The other domestic, I also like the domestic cyclicals. So I'm very positive on the real estate sector, for instance, because I think all the changes which have happened in the last 10 years, and real estate prices have not gone anywhere from 2008 to 2021-22. So selectively, whatever you can buy. So the way I approach markets, let's say, आप अगर मेरे को कोई स्टॉक बता दोगे तो मेरे लिए ये जरूरी नहीं है कि मैं कल सुबह जाके खरीद लूं. मैं अपना काम करके रखूंगा, फिर कभी कोई फेड का हल्ला होगा, इंडिया में कुछ हल्ला होगा, ऊपर कोई पॉलिटिकल ऊपर नीचे होगा. Market gives you a chance. So I keep my homework ready and act when market gives you a chance. I don't act when I want to act. I am trying to really resist कि ये नहीं कि आज मेरे को कान में किसी ने टिप बोला और कल सुबह मुझे या कोई इनपुट दिया तो कल सुबह जाके लेने का जरूरत है. You have to be able to assess where the markets are. So real estate and the domestic cyclicals are in that space where you keep getting a lot of opportunities. They keep giving you 30-40% correction, like what the market has done. So I saw the top 100 losers from 18,400 to 17,000 Nifty. And there are at least 100 companies which have fallen more than 40%. 100 companies which have fallen more than 40%. I'm sure we can get one or two out of this list to keep track and buy.
Thank you, Madhuji. We'll be obliged to see your note. That will be very good for us and very educative for us. Thank you. I have no further question.
Thank you, Kishore Bhai. Sunil.
Morning, Madhuji. Always a pleasure to listen to you and get experience from your pearls of wisdom on the market. Just one question. Next week is a eventful week. I know you discount most of these events and we should look at good sectors, good value pick, but your top 2-3 expectations from the budget on Tuesday?
Well, मुझे तो personally budget बहुत अच्छा लगता है. I've been tracking budget numbers for last 30 years now. And I've been very inquisitive about budget making at least in the last 15 years. I've never seen a situation like this for India, wherein your gross tax collections are up, or gross revenue tax collections are up roughly 4 lakh crores. The center collection will be up 3 lakh crores. So in spite of disinvestment target, a big miss, still government is entering with 1.5 lakh crore rupees of surplus. And I don't go into, last few thousand crore rupees. इसमें क्या अभी हमको तो डायरेक्शन चाहिए, हमको इकोनॉमिस्ट थोड़ी है, हमको एक बाजार का डायरेक्शन चाहिए कि इस बार करीब 1.5 लाख करोड़ का सरप्लस रेवेन्यू साइड में होना चाहिए इन स्पाइट ऑफ डेफिसिट ऑफ 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपीस ऑन डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट. खर्चा जो हुआ है मेनली सब्सिडी पे हुआ है, which should moderate in the coming year, and also the government has spent money on COVID relief, which again hopefully should moderate in the current year. So I think we are in a very sweet spot. We have addressed this problem of fiscal deficit once and for all last year, and there is no real pressure compared to where the worlds are, or even compared to where the developed economies are in fiscal deficit. I think India will do by and large okay if you predict a 6% kind of fiscal deficit. So by and large it should be good budget. Government का interest हमारे साथ fully aligned है, तो मुझे लगता नहीं है कोई लफड़ा बड़ा हो सकता है, because उनको LIC का IPO करना है 40-50 हजार करोड़ का, तो it is in their interest to keep the market warm, right? So I think anyway budget importance is going down year after year. So even though it's an important document, an important event from an overall policy perspective, so I am broadly positive markets have corrected nicely. So, I've been a buyer for last few days.
Thank you very much. Very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, KP.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, actually, it is my short name. My real name is Kunal Podar. मैं typing में फटाफट KP लिख दिया था. Hi. So I had few things to ask. Firstly, thank you for giving us time on a Sunday morning. I know you're at your hometown and you must be with your family. So thank you for giving us time. First thing I wanted to ask is on the consumption story. So when we see the consumption sector, we see companies like HUL and all जो single digit growth दे रहे हैं. And at the same time, we hear people saying that India is a great consumption story. So do you feel the consumption story in India is saturated, or do you feel that consumption stocks seem to be at quite a fair valuation right now and we shouldn't be looking at them?
I don't think consumption story has faded away, or rather it will fade away. On a 140 crore people population, you will definitely have rise of consumption. So you look relatively young, my friend. Good company doesn't mean good investment. Always remember that there are a lot of good companies which are there in the globe, but they are not necessarily a good investment. So I feel the same for some of these consumption richly valued companies, which you rightly pointed out, the growth rate has tapered for them because of their absolute base also. And in an inflationary environment, they are the ones who generally face pressure in terms of volume, right? So I would say that, you need not write off consumption from your mind, but you have to look at differentiated ideas and where the consumption trend is going. Maybe you need to buy something where the Indians are consuming a lot of data. Some of these companies may be available at a good valuation, or even in consumption. There are lots of attractive companies which are available below the line, which are not in the radar of investors. So consumption theme, in my view, will continue to make money, but you have to dig deeper. I am not a big fan of buying high value, high peak, high valuation companies, because I for one believe और बाजार अपने को वक्त देता है, टाइम देता है और अपॉर्चुनिटी देता है. तो इट्स लाइक अ गेम ऑफ क्रिकेट. अगर हर बॉल पे आपको छक्का मारना है ना, तो इवेंचुअली जाके फिर अपने को जाके पवेलियन में कमेंट्री देना पड़ेगा कि तू ऐसा खेल वैसा खेल. ये तो यू हैव टू मिस मेनी अ बॉल and wait for the right ball to hit a six. Investment game is like that. So if you don't understand, you don't need to over apply your mind. 10% growth है, 80 का P है, नहीं समझ में आता छोड़ दो यार. बहुत सारी चीजें जो समझने लायक है.
Agree. Makes sense. The next thing I wanted to ask, जो recent ये companies के IPOs हुए हैं, it is Nykaa, Zomato, Paytm. I mean, there the valuation metrics have changed. कोई बोलते हैं कि P ratio मत देखो, आप price to sales देखिए, या बोलते हैं कि price to sales मत देखिए, आप देखिए कितना users है. So, do you believe in this new crop of this valuation and this new crop of companies that have come?
So again, as a student, I also keep wondering as much as you are wondering that, इसको कैसे सीखना है. So I'm open, but I'm not putting my money. Because इतना अपना broad मोटा मारवाड़ी बुद्धि बोलता है कि बहुत अभी ये 1-2 लाख करोड़ के मार्केट कैप में हमको यही नहीं पता है कि कंपनी कमाएगी कब. तो कितना आई बॉल हो जाने दो, कितने कस्टमर हो जाने दो. हिस्टोरिकली वी हैव सीन 2002 में भी एक बार ऐसा ही हुआ था कि आई बॉल देख देख के लोगों ने 400 टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनीज को बना दिया था. एंड इट डिडंट वर्क. अगेन एवरी टाइम वी मे से that it is different this time, but it is never different for markets. It's the same. It will be the same cash flow. It will be the same absolute opportunity. Eventually, it will be the same ROE, and that is how companies globally are getting valued. If this was not valid, why will Google trade at 20 times, 25 times P multiple? Why is Google not trading at 200 times P?
Right. Agreed.
Right. So right. I do not think we should deviate. But having said that, some of these companies which are really disrupting will give you phenomenal returns. Trust me. So I, for one, I'm looking at the startup market in a private market space, wherein we can find these companies relatively undiscovered. If you find a great entrepreneur, that is the place to look at. So I continue to look at that place from an investment in the new economy perspective. And again, with humility, I must say that I don't understand it. So I have given money to people who understand this space well and can do a much better job than me. So, for instance, I have invested in Mohandas Spice Fund. I think they are doing a great job. They're doing an absolutely phenomenal job of identifying companies very early. So that's the mode which I have chosen. So while it allows me to make money, it also allows me to learn from them. It also allows me to be a student. And hopefully someday we will learn and we'll invest on our own as well in these companies.
Makes sense. In the start of our conversation today, you had mentioned about API companies. Now in API companies, what I understand is 4-5 years back, a lot of these Indian pharma export companies like Sun, Doctor, Reddy, they had a very high valuation. There was some correction. They said that because this is not a branded generic, this is only a generic market, so बहुत competition hai. So do you still feel that I know you are bullish on the pharma sector, but don't you think that for these companies, maybe there's a Divi's lab somewhere or a Lotus lab somewhere, but the majority of the companies are still just exporting the same generic product?
No, it's not as simple. I wish life was as simple as this. Because even though there is a competition, but now we have complex generics which are coming. We have the specialty generic products which are coming. Some of these companies are able to take advantage of that. See, एक बात है ना, कहीं पे भी disruption हो जाएगा, पर आदमी बीमार पड़ना नहीं बंद होने वाला है. So very generically speaking, I am not saying that I'm bullish on the overall pharma sector. I am bullish on bottom-up investment opportunities, and I like this sector because it is very volatile. And sometimes 2-3 quarters of bad results, you get an absolutely mispriced situation. And if you are a long-term investor, you thrive on that. So that's why I close it very close. That's why I do a lot of work on this industry and and track companies very closely. And by the grace of God, I've been very successful in getting some of the very, very good investment in this industry.
Right. Last thing that I wanted to ask was, you mentioned about real estate sector and being bullish on real estate sector. Now, what I understood was that in real estate sector, agar aap pure real estate company mein you put in money, then there is this risk that एक प्रोजेक्ट इनका खत्म होता है, वो लोग कैश फ्लो का एलोकेशन दूसरे प्रोजेक्ट में कर देते हैं. You don't know whether that will be successful. So people are saying put in real estate allied sectors like tiles, ceramics, cement. So when you say you are bullish on real estate sector, are you saying put money in real estate allied sectors?
I would put both. But see, हमारा काम ना पोदार जी आसान नहीं है. अगर मैं जनरिक ऐसे बोल दूं कि पूरे रियल एस्टेट वाले ऐसा ही करते हैं, तो 1 रुपया भी नहीं बनेगा, राइट? लास्ट 1.5 साल में there is 2 lakh crore rupees of market cap added in the real estate sector. 2 lakh crores.
Wow.
Almost market cap has almost doubled last 2.5 years. So which brings me to my first point, and the only point which I would like to repeat. The only rule is there are no rules. Please don't follow any rigidity कि ऐसा ही है वैसा ही है. You know, I can give you 5 names which have been multi-bagger in real estate sector in last 2 years. And but if you just believe this कि ऐसा ही है ये sector में, then you will not be even open to look at them.
Good.
The point which I am trying to drive that don't close your thoughts on anything. You may, after doing work, you may decide कि नहीं यार ये मैं तो 4 कंपनी देखा, चारों में ऐसा ही लगता है कि ये लोग प्रोजेक्ट बहुत ज्यादा कर रहे हैं. You may avoid it. You may buy real estate ancillary sector, but I don't close anything. And I would say if I have to give one edge of mine, it is only this edge, that my mind is very open. I am very flexible. I am very humble to learn from anyone. I am trying to get idea from whoever I can, and then put in the hard work. Majority of the time, all the time you will not go right, but in the markets, either you make money or learn, and both of them are very valuable.
Good. Makes sense. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will have to go in next 5, 7, 10 minutes. Just keep
Paras, can you quickly come with one question?
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhuji, for a Sunday morning and giving your insights on a distilled view of your wisdom for last 30 years. That's very inspiring. Now, only one question from my side. How do you must be having large investments in individual stocks, and that even in mid caps, where the liquidity also is a concern at times. How do you decide on booking a loss when you think that things have not worked out the way it has, and how confident you are in that booking losses? And what is your thought process?
Speaking, being a Marwadi, loss book करना आता ही नहीं, क्योंकि बाप दादा से कभी सीखा ही नहीं लॉस का कोई सौदा करना. तो it's been a very tough journey to book a loss, but over a period of time, I am learning. It's a very hard thing to implement, but I am learning. So we have actually booked a loss. I'll just give you an example. I invested in this company called Tech Solutions, which was Chennai based. On the face of it, it was promoted by Shriram Group, and it all looked good, and one was of the view कि यार ये group के साथ तो balance sheet का क्या problem हो सकता है. Very unlikely that so even though some people told me that there are balance sheet issues, I still ignored it. पर क्या है, 2 चीजें हैं. एक ना जहां मेरे को डाउट होता है वहां मैं ज्यादा पैसा नहीं डालता हूँ start with, so that that way you are able to minimize your loss. And second thing, when I went, मैं बोला वो बोल रहे कुछ है और कर रहे कुछ है, numbers कुछ और आता है quarter on quarter basis पे. So one fine day I decided decisively and sold my entire position. It was a big loss. So 2-3 learnings from this experience. One, again, be open mind कि कोई बहुत बड़ा आदमी भी गलती कर सकता है. Second, when you think that your thesis of investing is broken, regardless of what the price is, you have to sell. And third, look at every possible indication to validate your thesis, whether negatively or positively. Kai baar, everything looks good, but the price behaves very abnormally. It is very, very weak. And market at the end of the day is collective wisdom of all of us. तो किसी और को हो सकता है हमारे से ज्यादा पता होगा. So if we dig deeper with this thesis, I'm sure, पहले तो बड़ी गलती नहीं करेंगे, और अगर छोटी गलती कुछ हुई भी तो उसको जब समझ में आए उस समय काट देना. Because see, your mistake, do not play for bounce. In the stock market, we come to play here for a bull run. We don't come here to play for a bounce. So if you are hoping कि bounce आएगा फिर मैं बेच दूंगा ना, तो बिकेगा ही, क्योंकि खराब चीज में bounce आएगा ही क्यों?
True. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, Dagaji, one question, and we'll take last one from Dinesh Mistry.
Madhuji, congratulations for your sharing wonderful insight, 30 years of experience, and right straight from your heart.
Thank you, Dagaji, so much. I've learned so much from you throughout my life. It was a pleasure coming here.
No. It is your humbleness, and it's
if I knew the gathering is so august, I would have really prepared hard.
No. It is not like that. And I'm just putting a very, very straightforward. Of course, that the commodity is a cyclical. Normally, the people are talking as a cyclical. Now that in the change scenario, whatever that the word is moving, how do you see that I am talking of the ferrous and then the non-ferrous, particularly in a non-ferrous, that whether we talk of aluminum, copper, zinc, all these things are ruling at a highest price, and then there is a lot of supply side constraint, whereas that there is a lot of demand push for a longer time. So is there any structural change, and should we take a longer time view? I'm just...
राघव जी, दो पॉइंट है यहाँ पे. एक जो स्ट्रक्चरल चेंज हो गया है ना बहुत सारी ये कंपनीज में, वो है उसकी बैलेंस शीट. Because again we are talking in a small group. You take a company like Jindal Steel and Power, which had 55,000 crore rupees of direct or indirect debt. That debt number will be less than 5,000 crore this year, and maybe it will become virtually zero by next year. So ये एक permanent reality है, which makes some of these companies very interesting from a longer term perspective, right? So again, the question will be only bottom up analysis which you do. और मैं तो जब तक मेरे को रुपए का 3-4 अठन्नी नहीं मिलता है, एटलीस्ट इन अ कमोडिटी एंड सिक्लिकल स्टॉक मैं नहीं खरीदता हूँ. सो आई एम ऑलवेज पास कि चलो ठीक है, अभी नहीं मिलेगा, कोई बात नहीं, कोई खराब साइकिल आएगा उसमें मिल जाएगा. तो बट इफ आई हैव टू जस्ट डू ए 6-12 month trade, आई एम मोर देन हैप्पी टू डू इट विद अ प्राइस डिसिप्लिन. But when I'm investing in a cyclical commodity, I'm very careful that the margin of safety has to be very, very compelling. So I think there are very interesting companies which are available here, which again, because of the market and because of macro, they become very, very volatile. So you should keep an open mind to buy some of these companies when they become really attractive.
Yeah, wonderful. So particularly, I was just thinking of the non-ferrous metal, the aluminium, which looks to be quite good, the zinc. So your view on particularly...
Again, just let's say company like Vedanta has huge value. Because इनका भी अगर आप देखो balance sheet, this has corrected quite a lot. अभी 1.25 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट कैप और 50,000 करोड़ का साल का EBITDA आने का बात है. तो भी ये एल्यूमिनियम का भाव कहाँ जाएगा, जिंक का भाव कहाँ जाएगा, ये सस्टेन करेगा या नहीं करेगा ना. These are very, very complex question, and once we get into that terrain ना, then we just can't make any investment. Because मैं आपको 10 रिपोर्ट भेज सकता हूँ, 5 मंदी वाली और 5 तेजी वाली. अभी किसको बिलीव करें? हेलो,
I think उनका line stick हो गया.
I think the question got answered.
Yeah. Thank you. And Danesh, yours is last question.
Hello. Thank you, Madhuji, and good morning, and thank you for taking the time out to talk to us on a Sunday. Sir, I had just one question. Was that you mentioned that it's good to look at the trend. So, sir, according to you, and as we are so positive on India overall, so sir, in the next 3-5 years, which trend do you see where आज भी आपको ₹1 का माल 10 पैसा में मिल रहा है, sir? Where are those trends which we as investors can focus on, sir?
वो अभी तो नहीं मिल रहा है 10 पैसे में, because we are, पर वो कभी मिल जाता है. What I'm saying, you have to have the patience to wait for that minute. But one trend which I see for a young person like you is, look at disruptors, the companies and industries which are really, really disrupting, and the startup culture is really starting in India. So I see वहाँ पे अभी भी disproportionate return बनाने का opportunity हो सकता है, because some of these people have no capital. Not all of them can get access to large investors. Not all large investors are willing to look at many of these companies. And the disruption is going to come in artificial intelligence, it is going to come in blockchain, it is going to come in Web3, it is going to come in electric vehicle, it is going to come in environmental era. So I feel that भले वो रुपए का 4 आने में मिले या रुपए का 8 आने में मिले, पर ये ₹1 का 5 रुपए में बिक सकता है, ये मुझे conviction है, because of the overall theme which is there, and we have seen listing of so many of these companies out there. Similarly, let's say in the stock market, if you see what are the companies which are not performed. For instance, we spoke about the textile sector. Now, मुझे तो पता नहीं है 15 साल में भी टेक्सटाइल में तेजी का किसी ने बात किया होगा. So I find some of the companies were very attractive. Again, it has run up in the last 1 month, but there is no reason why it can't decline again at some point of time. So it is a very interesting sector to look at, textile as a whole. Before we close, Chandakji, I would like to just mention one thing. I've been very open, and as Dagaji rightly said, I spoke really my heart out. Yeah. We have spoken a lot of individual companies. We have given examples of a lot of sectors, and I have shared my views very, very generously. I would request that, with all disclaimers, please do your homework. Don't implement what I'm saying. Consult whoever you need to. And even from a regulator perspective, it is very, very important to acknowledge that we have made a lot of forward-looking statements. Some of these companies, I may have my own vested interest. So you all are requested to do your homework before acting on them.
Yeah, that's very important. Thank you, Madhuji, for sharing your experience. And I'm sure everyone of us will benefit out of these live experiences. Can I ask Anand Mehta to propose RT vote of thanks?
Excellent, Madhu भैया. आपने जो आज लेसन दिया है कि rule is no rule, and spirit of continuous learning, everyday learning. Yes. Marvelous. और
Thank you so much.
आपकी क्लास का आज फर्स्ट पीरियड हुआ है. We would love to invite you next.
जरूर करेंगे. I think let things subside. I would love to come to Kolkata and have a physical meeting with all of you. Spend 2 hours.
Most welcome.
आप बम्बई कब जा रहे हो?
Heartily welcome. और इस ग्रुप में हमारे जो मेन पवन जी, चांडक जी, अशोक भंडारी जी, HC डागा जी, आपके इन सब से किशोर भाई शाह, इन सब से आपको आज रूबरू होने का चांस मिला है. तो सबके लिए बहुत अच्छा है. आई वुड थैंक्स ए लॉट टू यू. अशोक भाई साहब कुछ आपसे बोल रहे हैं.
आप बंबई कब जा रहे हो मधु?
मैं आज ही जा रहा हूँ सर. अभी मेरी फ्लाइट है.
फाइन, थैंक्स, बाय.
ओके,
एंजॉय योर डे.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Before I close, I just may make one mention. Small thing. Generally by nature, I am quite optimistic. तो मेरे को आप 18,400 में सुनो या 7,500 में सुनो, आपको फर्क नहीं नजर आएगा. But that optimism doesn't mean that I am buying shares every day. That optimism only means that you are very enthusiastic about this business and you are wanting to always be eager to look at opportunities.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Madhu Bhaiya.
Thank you. Thank you very much.